Hello, everyone. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. The word for today is mycorrhizal. Mycorrhizal. Do you know mycorrhizal? You do, huh, Jason? Jason's a has an orchard. So trees have this network underneath the fungi. So they're connected and they communicate with each other. So it's a today's on talking about emptiness, but when you say emptiness in the West, it's like it's usually like I feel empty, meaning I don't feel like what's the meaning and what's the purpose and it seems pointless and get depressed. But in Buddhism, it's more the interconnectedness and the richness and the fullness and openness um, of our existence. So I thought mycorrhizal really speaks to that. And then there's this forest in Utah, aspen trees. And it's like 106 acres, 47,000 trees, and they're one root. It's one organism w- underground. So you can't really see the connections unless you dig deeper. So I think again, it's a really good analogy for what we need to do. We need to really uh, otherwise we just see individual trees. We just see individual people. We're not feeling the connection. So. Um, So people study this externally in the environment, and they get a grasp of interdependence. But so they share like when they're stressed, they share danger, they share availability of nutrients, um, and they're very resilient because they help each other and they can regenerate pretty quickly. Of course, they still have obstacles like we do that get in the way of thriving, evolving. So they have deer that come and eat them, and then there's climate change that's the problem. So that's not unusual. Good morning. Anyway, mycorrhizal, mycorrhizal, and I have one of these for you. Another optical illusion later. Okay, I'm gonna try to be a little more efficient this morning. So we meditate and we have some discussion time. Okay. Okay. I'm going to blab a little first. Do you want to get right into meditation? Maybe, maybe we could. Maybe we should. Yeah, let's do that. Tom says yeah. So just a quick motivation. Um, in Tibetan Buddhism, there's lots of they use a lot of analogy. I think that's what maybe inspires me to use analogies. But they have one of, we have this precious opportunity, and part of that isn't just that we're healthy and we're human and we can think and we can remember what's happened in the past and use it to help us in the future, but also we've met some teachings that maybe can lead us. I say maybe, but I think, we source of our happiness is our own mind, so it leads us to that and gives us really good methods. So they have this one that the chance of finding that perfect human rebirth, countless lifetimes, they believe. Mind is beginningless, endless, countless lifetimes. Here we are, very brief, like they say, flash of a lightning, this brief life. So a turtle in the ocean, swimming around underneath the ocean, and it comes up only 100 every 100 years, and there's this gold ring, like a life inner tube, those things, floating, and it comes up over only 100 years. And what are the chances it's going to put its head through that ring? Yeah, like slim to none, huh? But it's possible, right? And so here we are, possibility. And then we see a flash of lightning. We see that there's suffering. There's things to do. There's work to do to take advantage of that, make life meaningful. Take advantage of that perfect human rebirth. And then we see that others are also suffering. And so, from wanting to get free ourselves, that renunciation we talked about, um, then our mind turns to seeing that all beings are in the same situation. So we develop this. It's good to set this motivation, even though it may just be words for me, and when we say it, but then it can inspire us to look into it more and study it more. So this altruistic intention to gain enlightenment, to be able to benefit others. So the purpose of our life, um, our purpose of trying to um, get rid of, smooth out, subdue um, emotions that are troublesome, that agitate our mind, and developing positive qualities like love and compassion, that we do that in order to be of benefit to others. So, okay, part of that we brought up last week was self-care, really important. That Kira brought that up also. It's like we went all these things for self-cherishing and like that, but very important. Self-care is very important. And I think, thought about it more, that unconditional love for ourself. Like we think, oh, parents should have unconditional love for their kids, that's really important, and then they don't, and why don't they? And all we need to do is look within and see how hard that is to achieve for ourselves, right? Can I have unconditional love for myself? So no matter, it doesn't mean we're like, you know, uh, oh, just eat bonbons, go to the beach, like that. It's because we know that's not going to bring, but can we be easy on ourselves when we mess up? Can we say, I'm okay, I'm okay, no matter what happens, I have this unconditional love for ourselves. I'm going to weather the storm. Uh, so I think that's really a big piece of this is developing that for ourselves, and then it overflows and we can give it to others, right? Okay, I like this. Let's just do the meditation. So today's topic is emptiness, but um, introspection is the tool here. It's not going out and studying how all the trees are connected. It's more studying our own mind, the nature of our own mind, and that's really Lama Yeshe. There's a quote from him. He's saying that that's what a spiritual life is understanding the nature of our own mind. That's what being spiritual is. And then the tool is introspection and the value of introspection. And it's gotten a bit lost in the materialistic world. We're always looking outside to study connections, and somehow it has to be shown that, it's uh, you have to do experiments where it's material, using materials and checking it out, and then how it affects our behavior. But this tool of introspection to look at our mind, very important in this, and it's got centuries of development um, in Buddhist cultures. So it's shown to be successful. There's many like Alan Wallace who are really working hard to bring it into the scientific world so that scientists do study it and see its value so that that can get out more. So we're going to do a meditation to bring us inside a little bit, okay? So you're all already comfortable posture, back is straight, and just relax. Let your body relax and bring some joy, some appreciation into the moment that we can be here together doing this. And bring your attention to your breath. Good for calming the mind and developing concentration. So be aware of the movement of your tummy as you breathe. Mindfulness to keep the attention on the breath, and then a bit of your mind is spine to make sure when the mind wanders off, you gently bring it back to the breath. Now switch your attention to thoughts or emotions. You can pick, but look at your thoughts. If sometimes when we go to look at our thoughts, we don't seem to have any. So you can create a thought, but a lot of times thoughts are floating through our mind all the time. So turn your attention from the breath to looking at thoughts. Where is the thought? Can you locate the thought? Where did it come from? Where does it abide? And when it goes, where does it go? Maybe a feeling is easier to focus on, to see where that feeling abides. Is it in my chest, in my stomach? Sometimes we think thoughts are up in our head, but feelings have more range. And when you say, oh, it's in my head, or it's in my stomach or chest, and where? That's a pretty general area. So try to pinpoint it. And before it got there, where did it come from? Where was it? Was it waiting in the wings of the stage? Was it, where did it come from? Where did it go? Does it have a shape? Does it have a color? And if you come up with an answer, like this is what it looks like, then look into that further. What's it made of? Does it have substance? Is it material? Make sure your body is relaxed as you do this. Your face is relaxed. There's no strain. Just observing, being curious, checking out the nature of the mind. Now turn your attention to the one who is looking at thoughts, or what is looking at thoughts. Turn your awareness to that awareness itself. that quality of the mind that is can know things, has some gives clarity to things. Things show up in it. That awareness, that field of awareness. Turn your attention to that. If thoughts or feelings arise, or sensations in the body, your focus is on the field of awareness that they arise in. So thoughts and feelings may come and go, but that field of awareness is aware, clear. So this allows us to maintain some stillness and when thoughts and feelings arise, instead of chasing the thoughts, getting caught up in the thoughts, realizing that they come and go. They stay longer if we grab onto them and worry about them, fret about them. They're informative, fleeting, like passing clouds in the field, in the sky of awareness. Some of the clouds are hazy, some are thick, some are have lightning and thunder. But the sky, if we keep our awareness in that, then they can be less threatening. There's less grab from our side. We don't get blown away by the thoughts and feelings. We can identify with awareness instead of the thoughts and the feelings. Whatever feelings arise, whether they're good or bad, we can stay in awareness, enjoying the display of thoughts and feelings. We still engage in them, but there's not the aversion and attraction that causes so much agitation to the mind. The mind is more still. Not falling asleep, not agitated by the thoughts and feelings and sensations, staying alert in awareness. Okay, stop there. Okay, so we'll do a little exploration, okay? Um, so kind of looking at different ways to deal with problems, with suffering issues. So early on it was stop it. Kind of- if it's causing problems, you know, stop it. Like the don't kill and don't steal and don't lie and don't have sexual misconduct and harsh language and idle gossip and you know chasing after things that are appealing and I don't want that and just feeling that all those things cause so much agitation. We just say stop, stop doing that. So that that and these are always they're not like you move along and it's a you can come sometimes one that's the beauty I think of Buddhism. It's got this bag of things to help us like it's like you can look in there and say what is that one's not working, let me try this one. So maybe stop it does work. You get going down the wrong path, right? um, and somebody says, "Stop it," go back, and you turn around and go back because they've got a ranger uniform on and nice hat and badge, and you kind of believe that they are who they are. They're not. Um, they really are who they are. It's not the Wizard of Oz, okay? It's they really are. And but he was a nice guy, and he was helpful, right? He was helpful. So that's one method. Another method is that we looked at is you can say if you're getting if you're getting remember you're getting envious, you can celebrate them, right? Instead of being envious, oh, why can't I be like that? And you get all depressed and I'm a loser and you get wait, hold it. Let me look in that bag again. Oh yeah. Rejoicing, celebrating their good qualities. I'm lucky to have people like that around me, that I can learn from. right? Good for them, It's like hard to be happy in this world. There's somebody who's happy, even if it's, material with material things. I'm glad they could, be happy with that. Or we get depressed, we can think of our precious human rebirth. I got this great opportunity. Um, not as bad as it could. I mean, whatever works for you. Some people don't like that. I remember in the high school, you'd say, well, there's all these people in the world that don't, have really, they're refugees and they don't have oh, that doesn't help me. That just makes me feel worse. So if your mind's in a funk, it can take anything and turn it into, right? Turn it into to support that mood. The negative mind is very tricky that way. But if you try them out, like patience, good for if you're angry with somebody, be patient, like try to listen to them, try to get curious about what they're saying instead of being judgmental. Um, Try to learn from them, you know. We did the equanimity meditation, try to see friend, enemy, strangers, just people who are just like me. They don't want to suffer. They want to be happy, right? So there's all these methods, right, of transforming the mind, moving the mind away from negativity and things that cause it suffering, basically, and promoting things that bring it happiness, right? Maybe. But these are temporary solutions. So these are temporary solutions, right? They work, but they don't get to the root. They don't get to the root of the problem. So like if there's a weed in your garden, do you have gardens? People have gardens? No garden. You have weeds? Yeah. Huh? Well, weeds are, they can be nice. Yeah. Form a garden. I just pulled out one the other day that it's easy to pull out if it's not by something else, like a border or a tree or something. And it has a beautiful flower. I don't know the name of it, sorry. But so they're nice, at times, but they spread. But the root was like this, it's like this long. And I probably didn't get it all out. So it'll come back, right? So you can apply the antidotes, and if you get really good at them, then you can switch into that frame of mind so that you're not envious anymore, right? Like say for the rejoicing thing. So you can actually subdue it or put it to it's not bothering you. Now you do rejoice. That's your first reaction kind of thing. But the potence, the tendency is still there. Have you you probably so like you think you gotten over something? Like, oh, okay, now I don't have that anymore. I worked through that one. And, and then it comes back, it comes back in another way or something else brings it up, right? It's little different circumstances and it surprises you like, ah, it didn't go away. Still there. I mean, like I have that. Yeah, I have that. It's like with anxiety, say, oh, okay, good. I had this aha moment with it and I'm good now. And then boom, the causes and conditions come together again and and it finds the roots. The roots were still there and they get some nourishment from the causes and conditions and the right soil and there it is again. Oh, huh? Yeah, you do. No, I know. It's like it's a pause for effect. No, I wasn't. I was thinking about the root. They really can. Okay, so we have to get to the root of the problem, right? And that, what is that? That's this wrong conception we have of ourself and phenomena. That's it's conceptual, it's intuitive, it's like so habitual that it seems natural. I mean, it's just we're supposed to be like that, you know? We're supposed to have aversion and attraction and it's survival, you know? We're humans. But humans suffer. Humans suffer. So how do we evolve to a state where we don't have that? Oh, Jason.
It's hard. It's it's hard to be. Sometimes it seems hard to be. I don't know. Feels like you need to be omniscient to see things clearly
Yeah,
and accurately,
right.
and not get confused and have the wrong perception.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice? So let's work for that. And let's work to that. That's the idea. And the patience, what was that one about the skin? The snake in the skin? So it, you know, so we're Jason gave the analogy of a snake shedding its skin and it's or like a cocoon.
At its own pace.
Huh?
At its own pace.
At its own pace. So I think of a butterfly in its cocoon, like you see the cocoon and you see the struggling in there, right? And so you want to help it so it doesn't suffer. But if you do, it will you'll kill it, right? You can't interfere. Oh, I'm going to let it out. It's struggling to get out. I see the wings. You know, I'll let it out, and then you let it out, and it's like not deformed. It hasn't gone through its process. So, huh? Not strong enough. Right. Right. So one thing with that is it could happen. You know, some say it's a really gradual process, and it's going to take three countless eons to become Buddha. Huh? I think that's a long time. I think an eon is really long. So countless. And the Dalai Lama would say it's really good to have that kind of attitude that it's like for as long as it's going to take, I'm going to keep at it. To have that can give some courage instead of our thing is like, you know, is there something I can just put in the microwave? That's what I'm after. You know, something quick. Is there a quick way to enlightenment? What's the easy way? The quick, easy way. That's what I want. Huh? Oh, well, that's next week, but we can't get into that too much. But
I mean, I think it's hard to do because we're afraid to die and what might happen afterwards.
oh, yeah, there's that too. And then there's that. I'm reading a book, Lama Zopa, uh, Wholesome Fear, it's called. And I was afraid to read it for a long time. Really. I'm not just joking. I was like, oh my gosh, fear. Just the word, huh? Just the word. But I'm really glad I am reading it now. So it's like, but it had to be the right time. I had to. So I think it's being patient and you know, we introduce these things to ourselves and we read about them, we hear about them, we read some books and we sit with it. It's got to take its own pace. It's got to have its own pace and keep at it. We just keep at it. It's like going on a hike or something, you know? I don't know. Have you ever gone on hikes where you think, well, we went on in the Himalayas where I digress, but it's like, you know, you have a map, but and you head out on your own. You don't have we didn't have a guide, so it's good to have a guide, but we didn't have a guide. We didn't have much food. Um, we didn't have porters. It was in Himalayas. And we get to where there's supposed to be a village and there's no village. Like on the map, there's a village. We get there, there's no village. So there goes that plan. So then we go to this cave and stay the night there. We thought we were going to stay in the, and it's like this. The map doesn't really show that. So we had to turn back at one point. Fortunately, people showed up and we figured out that we couldn't go on. It was snowing and so it's like sometimes you turn back and then I don't know, you know what I mean? You just keep at it, okay? His Holiness, there's a never give up as a poster. Have you seen that? Never give up. Keep keep being compassionate, caring. Don't ever give up. Never give up. Never give up. And look what he's been through, fleeing from Tibet. Hmm. So that's where we find inspiration from, teachers, people who have, and reading autobiographies or biographies, not, of like Milarepa. I love reading about Milarepa. He's just like, phew, he did all these terrible things when he was young, killed people, and then became enlightened. Went off into a cave and did a lot of retreat, and phew. So it's like, wow, I don't know. I'm not Milarepa. And his teacher wasn't like him. His teacher was a householder and, you know, had a farmer. Marpa is a farmer and a householder, had kids, made many trips to India, translator, great Lotsawa translator. So unlike Milarepa. Milarepa just off to a cave by himself. So there's different ways to get there, not one way. Okay. But it is important to get to the root, right? So let's let's get on with it, huh? So what is it? What's the root? So I alluded to it, emptiness meaning we don't exist independently. We don't exist. There's not a like I don't know what it's like for you, but if I'm sitting here, if I'm sitting, I feel this like lump behind my eyes that feels like me. Like somehow I'm up in a control tower, and this is my body, right? And my mind. We'll do a meditation on this later, but it's like, is that so if you sit and introspection and you start searching like we did in the meditation, searching for those thoughts, right? Did you find the thoughts when we were doing that? Did you find the thought? Did you find a thought? You saw a thought. A thought came up. Where did it come from? Where did it go? Where was it? Was it in your head? Like in your brain? Because it's brain, right? It's in my brain. Yeah, that's fun. You do? Where do they come from? Your mind. Uh-huh. Your mind is in your brain. Your mind is and the brain are the same. See, that's that's what we're taught in the West. Huh. Yeah. But Buddhism has quite a different angle on it.
I think I visualize it a little differently. I mean, for me, like I found the thoughts out there,
Out there.
wherever they were. Whatever I was thinking of, I just left it there.
You left it there.
Yes. So that it came from the where it came from.
It came from where it came from.
If I'm thinking about a tree in my orchard,
Yeah,
that's where the thought is. It's in my orchard.
but your orchard isn't, your thought of the orchard is in your mind, not out there.
As is everything that I'm
I
experiencing.
mean, I think, I mean, there's something out there, but when we have a mental image
But
of something,
this way, so it's like for me, it's almost like the mycorrhizae, the superclusters of the galaxies, the neurons in our brain. They all have this similar kind of network structure, and I imagine the vibrations along it.
uh-huh,
And I leave it, and they're out there. That network is there.
right,
Like you're there, I'm here. There's vibrations between us, and
uh-huh,
that's how I visualize it. I just picture it.
okay. So for that to happen, there can't be something that exists independently. For there to be relationship, there, it can't be two independent entities. Because how can they interact if they're independent, right? But yet it feels that way. The orchard, the tree is out there. So when you hear a sound, where's the sound? In your ears? In between your ears? What? It moves. It moves. So somebody, so we don't, yeah. So it moved from here to your ears. So for that to happen, this can't, you can't be, there's connection. There has to be a connection between it and us, right? Otherwise, there's no way that we could have an experience. But doesn't that get lost? A lot of, I mean, when we just go about our daily life, like, doesn't that kind of get lost that there's this connection? It's more like, oh, the bell. The bell sure sounds good over there. And we lose track that actually it's a interdependent phenomena. It doesn't exist without my ears, my mind. I mean, there's no experience. I mean, if you're just a corpse, you wouldn't hear it. So you need a mind, you need life. I mean, even though you just died and your consciousness, well, in Buddhism, your consciousness will leave, your ears weren't going to hear it because there isn't the mind there. So it's not just physical. So there is a self, okay? So it's not like getting like, oh my God, that nothing exists independent. If I don't exist we're used to feeling ourselves as existing independently of others. That's another one of those words that's different. And there's so many words that are different in the West than in the East, like attachment. Attachment is good in the West. When you're growing up, you should have healthy attachment, secure attachment. In the East, it's usually talked about as being a problem, being attached, because it's a selfish, selfish thing. Like I'm attached to this person, like I love you, not meaning I need you in my life to be happy. So there's an attachment there. It's not saying they're not saying that you don't need healthy upbringing and good relationships with your parents, but there's a different meaning there. Or codependent in the West is bad, but in the East now we're talking about, hey, we're we're all codependent. Huh? What? Interdependent. Yeah, it'd be better than codependent. Yeah. Yeah. So there is a self because we have experiences and we feel pain and we feel pleasure and we perceive things. And so we don't want to go. So this is what happens when we start challenging how we exist. From experience, I'm speaking. We have a tendency to go the other way. Oh, I exist. This is how I exist. I go like this because it feels like we have this sense of I'm here. Um, Lucas said it, I think the first week. It's sort of this feeling about in the first four, me against the world. That sort of sense, me against the world. Here I am, and I. And then we start looking at that, how maybe we don't exist that way. There's still an I, but we don't exist, it doesn't quite exist as so solid and concrete and self-sufficient and substantial. And then we go, I don't exist at all. Crap, you know? And you go to nihilism. You go from solidity or, absolutely this way, or, to I don't exist at all. And so Buddhism always talks about the middle way, right? We exist, but not the way it appears. So it appears that this is over here and Jason's over there. It appears that way, but in reality, if you look at this, you get a visual image in your mind, and the light comes in, and electrical impulses, and the brain interprets it as sounding bowl, right? So that's the same with the self. It's created. It's a. I mean, our names were given to us, right? Our name was given to us at birth. So we weren't whatever name we have, we weren't that. So um, there's lots of things like that. So this is an evolutionary process. It's sort of getting out of this, what self-centeredness does, creating this like out there and in here, and I have to get that and stay away from that. And, instead of feeling this um, mycorrhizal, what was it? Mycorrhizal, ri mycorrhizal, like rhizomes, or what are they called? Rhizomes, mycorrhizal, mycorrhizal. So instead of keeping that in our, like living from that space, we live from cut off, separate, disconnected. So that promotes loneliness and feeling, a lot of problems, like instead of feeling like, whoa, this whole network of support. Like when people get depressed or feel lonely, if they think about the people in their life that are there for them, right? Then it starts coming back. They start coming back that they're okay. I'm okay. So it's important to foster that sort of sense of so that's the healthy one of the best ways to like go at emptiness is through this interdependence, right? Because if I don't exist independently, you don't freak out. It's going to be better. You exist interdependently, you know? So there is a self, okay? But impermanence helps. Impermanence in the beginning, it's like, okay, I don't exist. I mean, I'm going to die. But then you get into impermanence at more subtle levels, moment to moment. Like with some of the breathing practices, they're not just calming. You can have a lot of insight when you're just watching your breath. If you get into every moment of the breath and your whole body breathing, you can really experience the some of the movement and the impermanence, the movement of it, the dynamic activity of it, right? The liveliness. Our body feels so solid, and but enzymes and electrons are moving almost the speed of light, and we're mostly space. So we almost have to every day practice. That's what practice is. Everyday practice, reminding ourselves of who we really are, and not be fooled by this gangster. Sorry, but it's sort of like a hello. It's like they've got this hold on us that huh? They? Yeah, I said they. You mean like you mean plural? I'm trying to say they instead of he or she. Sometimes it feels like a whole gang of they, like, can I just talk to your leader? I'd like to just talk to the mob boss. Could I just, and that's what this is sort of about. It's like in some of the practices, like you want to bring up that mob boss, that guy or that person, that personify, but almost personify it, you know? Um, they one of the examples they use is if you've ever been wrongly accused of something. Like, how could you stole you backed into my car and you ruined my car. You didn't. You weren't driving. Don't have a car. I'm going to call the police. No, 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 okay. So this sense of self can rise up really strong. And they say that's a good time to have a good look at it because it's so strong. But some say, yeah, maybe that's not the best. You got to find your right technique, right? Sometimes it can be this thing of a lump. Like you sit and where do you feel I? Me, me. You can call it up like a passcode to get into where the mob boss lives. Come out wherever you are, you know. It's not bad to have some humor in it because otherwise, yeah, it's very tricky. We'll do a meditation on that, but you try to expose it. You try to go behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz, right? Right? That's what you're trying to do. We've been fed this crock of stuff, right? That this eye is looking out for us. It's our best friend, our true refuge. Brought that up last week. This is, whatever you say, whatever you say. So now we're trying to say, a lot of things you've told me have led to a lot of suffering, a lot of problems. I don't, maybe I should look at whether you're really the one I should be following. So we're trying to first we have to find it. We have to find the right one, the right mob boss, like, and then we have to start. We need a Toto to run over. Wasn't it Toto? Didn't Toto go over and pull the curtain? So we need a Toto. If you didn't watch Wizard of Oz, I highly recommend it. So we need help in this. So Toto and she wasn't, you know, sh they didn't they didn't kill the guy. They still got advice from him, right? And they, right? But it wasn't, she had to learn it. She had to come by it on her own, right? They had to come by it on their own. No one's going to go and give you, Buddha's not going to make you not suffer. Buddha gives us ideas about how we can not suffer, how we can pull ourselves out of suffering. Fantastic. So that's the good news and the bad news, right? We can do it ourselves, and there are people to help. Uh, so the good news, we have to do it on our own, and the bad news is it's going to take it's going to take some effort. Yeah. So impermanence helps break it up, right? Start seeing, oh, things are moving around and active, and still we're trying to hold on to this permanent sense of self. Yeah, everything is permanent. Yeah, I got that. but it's intellectual because we're still holding on to a sense of self that's solid, right? Impermanence hasn't penetrated the sense of self, that sense of self. It hasn't gotten on board with the program. It's really, it's really entrenched. It's been around that way. So then there are ways to meditation and a discussion. We're going to have both. We are. Okay. So real quick. So there's ways the good way to go at the interdependence of things is, okay, this is me, okay? Well, let's do me. Let's do me. Should we do a person or should we do an object? So sometimes it's easier to do an object outside of you and do the analysis. But they say also it's quicker to do yourself first. And then you can apply it to everything, right? But sometimes it's easier with phenomena because I'm not looking at you, not looking at ourselves. We're not challenging how we've been going about things. So we do have to be kind. We have to have that unconditional love for ourselves as we do this process. Have the love and compassion and patience, tolerance. So um, causes and conditions, right? I wasn't here 76 years ago, right? My parents had, sex. I think. I don't think. I'm pretty sure. I can assume, right? I don't know for sure. And then I was born, and that also I don't know. That's a hearsay. But there's some evidence, okay? And then you think back. Do you ever think back like when you were like you can remember like 7 or something? And do you think it's the same person that you are now? It kind of feels that way. So like, oh, when I was 7. Oh, right. I mean, just think about that. When I was 7. I mean, okay, there is a general I. There's an I that goes on. We can label it I. That's okay. We can label it. We label it I, right? It does hold up. It is I. Conventionally, it is I, right? But we're talking about how it exists underneath that convention, right? How does it really exist? Not how it that's how it appears, and everybody agrees with that. But it only can do that because of emptiness, because things are interdependent and causes and conditions. That's why I can do that. I can remember I was small at one time and it changed, right? Right? So both are there, right? But we get stuck on we don't see the underneath part. We don't see that it's just a convention. It's like not just a convention, but that's one way it exists. But the other way is it's causes and conditions. It happened over time. Things happen. The other is parts. I'm made up of parts. Lots of parts. How many parts? Wow. I mean, that would be a meditation. Just meditate on how many parts you have. And then take your liver and then how many parts does the liver have? And you never find a part that's final. Every part has sides, directions, and then so now it's got sides and right? And that's quantum physics too, I think. It's not like made up stuff. We're made up of a lot of parts and they're working together. Amazing, right? So a good way to break down the solidity and such a strong um, fixed idea of who we are, right? Another is mutual dependence. So like, oh, he's really short, but he's not, oh, now he's standing next to, oh, he's really tall now. He was short, now he's tall. So it's just doesn't merely designated. It's we're designating it based on a relationship, right? Okay, so those are and so the I is a big part of that is just we're just given a name. We give it a name. Okay. It works, it functions, but we have to get to the how it really exists is it's got all these parts, it's got causes and effects. It's merely named. Why how does that help? How is that going to help us? I think that's a big question, right? Why is that going to how's that going to help me? I think it I mean we all have to kind of get into it, but it does break up this that things are solid. You know, like, oh, there's that object over there. I really need that object. If I get that object, I'll be happy. But now the object is not so much out there because I realize I'm seeing a mental image of the object. In the sense, I already have the object in my mind and it's impermanent and it's changing all the time. And if I think that's going to bring me happiness, it's going to change and that's going to be unsatisfactory at some point because it's now, right? Does that make sense? So it does sort of really help to break it down. The stronger this sense of I is, you can see it in people. They have this my way or the highway, right? So then it creates conflicts, um, troubles in relationship. It's hard to take somebody else's perspective, you know, because it's just like this is it. This is the way it is, the way I see it. Does that make sense? Huh? No? Okay. You can say no. It's okay. Um, and then also you can go like Dorothy did. What happened to Dorothy? And this is another one when you're not in meditation. What happened? That all that she had was a dream, wasn't it? Or was it? But no, she ended up back home. Her aunt's putting a towel on her head, and she comes out of it, and there's Toto, and but then the farm hands were the scarecrow and the lion, and then the guy who had the magic bus, he came by. The guy, remember, professor, yeah. So that's an analogy in Buddhism that you know if we during the day if we can see things as like a dream or illusory, because in a dream we totally buy into the reality of what's going on, right? Out of because of sleep, and in daily life we do it out of ignorance because we have been sold a bill of goods by the mobster. Mobster? Is that what you say? What's the head of a OG? I think he's the original OG. Yeah, yeah. Wrong conception of self and phenomena, those two. Thinking that they have an identity that comes from their own side. Okay, let's do a short meditation, okay? And then we can chat the last bit and have the raffle. Okay, cool. Okay. So just sit comfortably, relaxed, and we'll do a little search for this I. We feel I am here, I'm sitting, I am sitting. And it's true. We went over that. We don't have to dispute that we have a self, has experiences, but it's what we're examining is how does it exist? Is the way that we experience it the way that it is that in line with the way that it really exists, or do we see it as something independently existing? So there's this process of first deciding where, getting a feeling of it. Like I mentioned, you can if you feel a lump somewhere, or you feel a pressure, or you feel your eye is somewhere located in your body, or if somebody you can remember experience where you got emotional, somebody challenged you, or something came up, and you can kind of think of where that get a sense of that self that's having that experience. So do that now. Get a sense of self, of yourself, either located, where is it? See if you can locate it, or maybe it's a feeling or a sensation in your body, something that identifies me. Now there's only two possibilities. There's mind body. We're going to separate the two because the mind is insubstantial, the body is substantial. So we're going to separate mind and body. But I'm going to say mind and body, they're together, definitely together, but different functions. So there's two possibilities. Either this sense of I is in the body mind complex or outside of it. Does it exist in the body mind complex or outside of it? And then because we've just taken for granted that it exists there as a solid entity, we've never really, maybe we've never really looked to see is that the way it exists, the way it appears, is that the way it exists? So now we're looking, having a look. Is the Wizard of Oz really what he? So we're using Toto, which is reasoning, to pull back the curtain. So I know I say, so this is the way you kind of lead yourself through it. So I know I say my body and my mind, but that means I must be outside of my mind and my body to own them, to possess them in that way. But that's impossible. I can't be outside my mind, my body, because then I could maybe not think things or feel things. Um, but so I must be inside the mind or the body. I must be inside. I must be part of the mind or body. So am I part of the body? Is the I the body? I know we say my body. Um, Feels like, so you do a whole analysis. You could search your body looking for the I. Your toes is in your toe. Well, when somebody smashes my toe, or when I stub my toe, it hurts. But that hurts up in my brain, I think. Oh, it's connected maybe. But maybe centrally it's up in my brain, up in my mind. It's in my mind. That's where it is. It's in my consciousness. That's where it is. This solid sense of I, this I that's independently existing, inherently existing, is in my consciousness. But then where in the consciousness? Where in the mind? What part of the consciousness? Past consciousness? Future consciousness? Present consciousness? Oh, I'm that stream of consciousness. So what part? Like calling something a river, right? So there is an I. We can designate it I. We're not disputing that. But if you designate it river, like a flowing river, like flowing of consciousness, and you go river, but where's the river? That's a name you put on a flowing body of water. The flowing body of water is changing. That impermanence that we mentioned before, it's changing constantly. So river, we have to realize, is a name we apply to it. That way, that can be more helpful. Then we're not so, if it changes course or something, then we're a little more flexible. It helps us be more flexible, more malleable. So we haven't been able to find what this exercise does is the unfindability of that concrete I. It's really we can't find it, and we say, well, I just didn't look hard enough. So then we look some more. It's like, if you know something, if you really feel something's in a room, and you go in that room, you look around for it, and you can't find it, then maybe you like you know. Uh, You hide some money in a room. You know it's in that room. You look through the whole room, you can't find it. But you didn't look everywhere. So you go back and look again and again, and you tear things apart. You found it in this pocket. But if you can't find it and you've torn everything apart or look through everything, let's say not torn it apart, then you say it's not in that room. Oh, maybe I put it somewhere else. Oh, I never did put money there. In this case, there never was the money. There never was the gangster. There never was the solid sense of self. And what a relief, because it's been such a bully, right? It's been such a bully, causing so much trouble. So that's why it's worthwhile to do this investigation. Troublemaker, exposed. And then it can bring more joy in our life, more peace of mind. So then this feeling of openness and connectedness can lead to more compassion for others, that they're undergoing the same difficulties because of holding on to this strong sense of self. And then also by meditating on compassion, it can uh, incite more feelings of interdependence. So the two are these two wings of a bird flying together. So we can work on the root, interdependence, and relatively we work on compassion, bodhicitta, transforming problems, and there's no distinction between the two. They're together. Cause and effect works because of emptiness. Impermanence. Okay? So that's very brief, but you could do more of that. And you can find it in books where it's laid out. So you can take it I mean, it doesn't always work, so that's why it's good to have these other methods. Stop it. That really worked for me the other day, you know? That really worked. I was going down the wrong path. The scarecrow wasn't there to help me. And somebody said, stop it. And I went, all right. Or you can do the transformation thing where you take Okay, let me look at this a different way because this is causing me a lot of problems with this person right now. Let me be more compassionate. Try to be more understanding about they're just like me, they got problems too. And I don't know what's going on for them. So let me get curious and try to listen. So these have applications in our definitely applications in everyday life. It's not just something on the cushion. Okay, we have a few minutes. Any kind of discussion, um, how this might help transform reactivity and increase patience. Um, I've got ideas, but let me throw one thing out, okay? One little thing. So there's this one of the you're in a boat by yourself, right? And you're going along. It's not a river, it's more of a like a lake, okay? And this person in another boat comes and just rams they just ram into you, okay? So what's the natural reaction there? What the hell? What do you, yeah. Yeah, why'd you do that? Yeah. Okay, so now next scene, you're going along in a boat in this pond, and this boat rams into you, but there's no one in it. Now what do? You might go, I guess I need to be more careful. There's boats floating around with no one in them. So it is taking, I think this helps us take more responsibility for our experiences and for what's going on in our life. Like I need to work on my view, right? I need to work on my view of the world because it's a little off. I take things to be solid that aren't solid. I take things to be permanent that aren't permanent. I take things that are cause suffering to be bring me happiness. I mean, I need to do what's that deep reset. I need to reset. Meditation's like a reset. So you practice every day to reset, to try to and also become more familiar with this and convince ourselves, like not convince ourselves, but I don't mean that. I mean, you know, check it out, really see if it's validity there. You know? Okay? Okay, I'm gonna say one more thing if no one's gonna. So Lama Zopa said this once to somebody, and we put it up on our refrigerator. And so every once in a while we go back to it, and we have an experience. That something happens, an experience. We perceive it. We label it. We believe our label, and then we react. Okay? Problematic. Okay? We perceive it. To me, that means we form an opinion about it, right? Huh? Because if you just have a pure experience, it's like, okay, color and form, movement. Then we perceive it, we go, okay, we label it bad, good. We perceive it as a threat or something we want, and then we label it a certain way, right? Now we're solidifying it. So we're trying to stay more fluid. By staying in emptiness, we can stay more fluid, right? We can be more flexible. But here, it's a process of becoming more solid until we've labeled it bad person, and now we react. Now we're in trouble. So if we can catch it, we can catch ourselves. I'm starting to think I don't even know this person. You know, I think I told you the story that a person I did a retreat with once in a group retreat, and I was sort of disgusted by his table manners at the time. So you look back on these things, you go, God, it's so petty. What's the matter with you? Stop it. Anyway, so and then one time he told a story about how he was hitchhiking in California and they got in trouble and like he was shot and his buddy was shot and the girl was taken away. I mean, it was terrible, nightmare. And I went, how can I judge? I don't, I mean, I still do, but how can you judge? You know, I do, but how can you judge people when you have no idea what they've been through? And it's not just this life. If you click in, Airplane Boy or 20 cases suggestive of reincarnation, Ian Stevenson, and it's past lives and future lives and what people have been through, and I'm laying a judgment on him and how he eats. I don't even know if I could eat if I'd gone through what he had gone. You know what I mean? Like how would I? So then so that's empty. That's bringing in emptiness into compassion. Like breaking up your view, breaking up this view, b- broadening broadening your broadening your view. Let it open up and include people and experiences, and then you're more compassionate. Okay, I didn't have that one written down, but boy. Anybody else? Yeah, good, Tom. Mm, oh, with silence? Sometimes it's like when you have the absence, like when you do the meditation on trying to find the concrete eye and you can't find it, it's an absence. Emptiness is sort of an absence of that eye. It doesn't exist that way. So it doesn't exist at all that way. That's solid way. So there's an absence. And that can be like space-like emptiness. So in a sense, it could be that kind of stillness where there's no, because concepts break things up, right? Don't they? Concepts, they break things up. Like if we're all, this web, the micro mycorrhizal, mycorrhizal, and you start picking things out and naming them all concepts. That's how things get separated sometimes. They lose their connect because we like, oh, this is that. So you've kind of broken through that a little bit, and then it can be this space. So you can say that's stillness. That's that still silent. You said silence, but I'm thinking you mean more like not just quiet, but silence or still or like
If I'm experiencing if I'm if I'm experiencing emptiness, would that be silence? As in, if I'm talking, that talking kind of goes away. I don't have the words anymore. I'm just experiencing the emptiness.
I don't know.
I don't either.
It's a personal experience, I think, but emptiness is not limited to nothing being there, like no concepts. It's not limited to that because that it's like things are empty of be existing independently, right? So you can be meditating and they say it gets like that, like you're describing. It can be like that, but the awareness is that you still have awareness, right? It's not like you go to sleep, right? Not like you fall asleep, but is there a sense of self that's solid, that's having the experience? Then look at who's having the experience. Look at that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm in emptiness. Then like, who's in emptiness? I don't think you are right now, but you know what I mean? Yeah, that's talking. That's talking. But even then, there's meditations. Even at the, even if there's movement and meaning thoughts and feelings, that that immediately or as soon as you can see them as empty, like they're also empty. They also have that quality, that characteristic that they're 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 empty too, right? The thoughts and the concepts of existing from their own side, right? Yeah. Okay. Oh, so Emily came for her book. She won last week, right? Baseball game. Did he win? Okay. Wow. Big game? Okay. Jason, could you draw? I don't know if everybody's here. Huh? Good luck at home.
Christina.
Huh?
Christina.
Okay. Oh, Chris. Is that Chris? Do you know Christina? It's not Chris. Do you know Chris who comes? Yeah, you do. Look, do you have a Christina on the rolls?
I don't know. I don't know the rules. But Tyler will know.
Okay. So, but she does exist.
Not from her own side.
No, that and that's the good news. Yeah. So let's draw. This is called a provisional ball in golf, but alternative in case Christina doesn't exist at all. Draw one more just as about. Now, whoever this is, don't get your hopes up.
Okay, well, that's curious. Wait,
Oh, Kira. So,
we-
Christina, if you're around today, you have to be present for this drawing. You do have to be present for the drawing. Okay. She has to be present. And we should check the roles if she's, yeah. And then this is Kira. Yeah. No, it is. No, it's really, I really like this book. This has a lot of the meditations we did last week. I wanted to give it away last week, but it didn't happen. Thank you, Kira. Bodhicitta. Yeah. Well, thank you, everyone. And let's dedicate any energy, positive energy that we've accumulated. I mean, I don't know. It's like a formality, but it's not really, huh? What a what a good thing to do. Like motivating. Like, why am I going to do what I'm going to do today? You know what? And let me try to have a really good motivation. Like, may all beings be free of suffering. Wow. Okay, that's going to be my thing today. Whatever I do, may it promote that agenda. Right? By myself alone, as Rinpoche would say. And at the end of the day, our end of what we're doing now, may whatever I've done, I want to put it in that bank. I want to bank it toward that same ideal. May this bring about happiness for all beings and liberation from suffering, so they never have to suffer again. And may they become Buddhas, so that the whole world is just full of Buddhas. Okay, and then it's in the bank. And they say even if you like get really angry, if you've dedicated it, you've kind of, that's already spent. So it's not like going to be so affected by harmful emotions. All right. Thank you all. And next week is, well, we'll talk a little bit about Om Mani Padme Hung, you know, Chenrezig, and another way, visualization, right? Visualization and Vajrayana. we'll just touch on that next week. Okay? Peace out and congratulations, Kira.